Welcome to the Kynective Media Podcast, and I'm your host, Jules Nadlin. Today I'm joined by Peter Harte, Marketing and Development Coordinator from the Toronto People with AIDS Foundation. We're going to be talking about the power of community, discussing their services and programs, and the annual Friends for Life Bike Rally. Welcome, Peter. I am so excited to have you on the Kynective Media Podcast today. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Yeah, really good today.
It's a great Friday afternoon. I'm not going to complain. I wanted to just quickly take some time to have you introduce yourself to our people watching and listening our podcast. Just tell us a little story about your career path and your professional journey, and we can move on to how you ended up in the role that you're in right now.
Yeah. My name's Peter Harte. Currently, I work for the Toronto People with AIDS Foundation. I'm the marketing and development coordinator, and yeah, it took me a little while to get here to find this job that I love so much and very happy doing. I guess started out, where to begin.
Back in the day.
I know, back in the day, I always kind of go back to like the end of high school, I guess, when you're kind of making that decision of what do you want to do for the rest of your life. And at that point, I felt very creative. I wanted to be involved in the arts in some way or another. So I knew I wanted to move to Toronto. So I studied a fine art degree in new media, which at that time, I guess in the early mid 2000s, was a very kind of like vague, interesting moment in technology and social media where things were just starting to begin, but also very much in like their infancy. So this program was very open-ended in the sense that they just would give you the freedom to do anything you wanted in any type of medium. It was very technologically driven, but always with this kind of artist perspective. And yeah, at that time, I thought I wanted to do web design, graphic design. I didn't quite know what I wanted to do. I was like 18 years old. So
most of us don't really end up in the path that we start thinking in our earlier years.
How am I in marketing? I wanted to do like web and graphic design. So when I graduated university, I found myself in marketing departments because, you work in communications. And then at that time, I guess I was starting to lose interest in it a little bit. Things were changing so rapidly at the time. If you remember, Flash websites were all the rage, and I didn't want to learn ActionScript, and I just kind of lost interest. But I was lucky enough that I worked in performing arts in this type of marketing world, and when you're in this kind of small community, you can easily gain skills going from different organizations. And so I was able to learn a lot of on-job marketing skills that weren't necessarily like web and graphic design. So I was able to get a lot of hands-on education while getting paid to do my job.
That's great.
Yeah. And then, I did that for like the better part of like 10 or 12 years working, in theater companies, music festivals and that. And I always really loved where I worked. And I did love for the most part what I did as well. But it just kind of got to a point after that many years where it was like, I'm making other people's dreams happen. Like, I don't know what my dream even is. Like, I like where I work, but I'm not necessarily fully happy with the job that I'm doing in this wonderful place. So, it took a lot of baby steps to change my career path. And so I am still in marketing, but I work, and we'll talk more about this, for this charitable bike ride event that very much is up.
Right. Well, the exciting part of our conversation for me. I want to hear so much about that. So what actually brought you to work for PWA? That's who you work for now.
Yeah, so the Toronto People with AIDS Foundation, as you can imagine, is a charity. And so part of their biggest sustaining fundraiser is the Friends for Life Bike Rally. And so in its biggest form, it's a 6-day ride from Toronto to Montreal. We have about 300-ish riders that join us, and then maybe about 80 or so volunteers that help with various crews. And we raise money. All the riders raise money, and it supports the programs and services at PWA.
Okay. And how long has this annual event been running now?
This year is the 28th year. It was formed in 1999.
Wow. And it's, what is it, 600 kilometers
Yeah, it's just
to Montreal?
yeah. It sounds wild. It sounds
It sounds insane. I'm sorry.
I know. But it's incredible because everybody makes it,
Right.
and people are aged, sometimes younger than 18 to people in their 80s, various fitness levels. We offer a lot of training resources, but some people just kind of train on their own and do it. And there's a lot to say about the power of community and the energy that comes from all those other people doing the same thing around you.
Absolutely. Someone who's done fundraising herself for other programs and Climb the CN Tower ones, the energy and the connections you make with people, that's what got me up the stairs. So I can only imagine the relationships and the connections and the community they're building over. How many days does it say you take? 6 days?
6 days. So that's the long haul.
That's the long haul. Okay.
Over the last few years, maybe like 5 years or so, we've introduced shorter rides, a bit more easily accessible for some people. So we have a 1-day ride to Port Hope.
Okay.
And then you get bussed back to Toronto that night.
And that's 100 kilometers?
Yeah, just over 100.
Oh, good guess.
Yeah, I know each day, I guess on average, you're doing about 100, but there's a couple days that are shorter and then longer. And then we offer a 3-day ride as well, either to Kingston from Toronto or Kingston to Montreal. So yeah, a lot of ways to get in there because we're also camping along the way, mind you. So some people just don't want to camp for that long. And so we have these kind of entry points for people. But oftentimes someone does one of the shorter rides and then they inevitably come back for the 6th day. It's just that much fun.
Yeah, it's almost like the introductory package to the 600. Like if you're someone like me who's like, and I did have that moment today before jumping on this podcast with, I was like, maybe I could do it next year. Maybe I can start training now. And then I was like, God, no, that's like 600. So it's kind of like the amuse-bouche, the little taste of the experience of like, maybe you can sign up 1 year to do the 100. And then, I feel like once you start, you stay on.
Yeah.
As someone who fundraises and is part of this community and driving the Friends for Life bike rally, do you have a lot of people who come back year after year after year?
Yes, a lot. There's some people that have been riding for well over 20 years. One of the bike rally was founded by two men, Danny Nashman and David Linton, and Danny Nashman still rides. Not necessarily every year, but he's on the ride with us. And David Linton passed away a few years ago, but yeah, he'd be riding with us if he was still here.
He's riding in spirit.
Yeah. And I think there was a question that I missed at the beginning where how did I get to the bike rally? And
I'm sorry. I got excited all about the bike rally and I'm like, forgot about you.
Well,
okay.
I'm a rider.
You're a rider. Okay.
So my journey with the bike rally first began in 2015. And I had been hearing about the bike rally from different friends, people that I worked with, also just chatter from within my community. And then so I'm thinking, for a few years, this might be something I want to do. And so I rode in 2015. And since then, I've ridden 7 times the full 6 days. And it was just such an incredible experience for me. And at that time in 2015, that was when I was starting to get these inklings and desire to do something completely different. And after the rally, I was like, how do I go back to anything else but this?
Yeah.
It was just so it's literally so magical and life-changing. And so I took like about 10 years to make this job happen where I'm now working for the bike rally and promoting it and marketing it and
Okay.
selling it. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
amazing. So that's what brought you to PWA.
Yeah.
It started with the bike rally
Yeah. Yeah.
and just a
And
life defining, changing moment.
yeah, it's really the community, the cause, raising money for people living with HIV, and the challenge too. Like I love endurance sports, so everything about this job makes sense for me.
And when you, just for people who don't have no clue, they've never heard about it before. If someone say wanted to jump on right now and join that bike, like they're an active person, they are riding their bike daily and they think they can do this, can they still join in the month of May for something that's happening in August? Are you still,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Some people have registered days before the ride. So the ride is August 2nd to 8th, 7th. God. Yeah, 2nd to 7th.
Okay.
And so there is a fundraising minimum. And
Okay. I was
so,
going to ask you that.
yeah, so
Yeah, there's a minimum.
if it's your first year and you're doing the 6 days, it's $1,950 ask for you to raise. And the reason why it's that amount is because it roughly costs uh, $2,000-ish to bring someone on the road with us because it's a fully supported ride. All your food is provided. The campsites are paid for. You get lodging in Montreal. And but if you can't commit to that, if you do the 1 day ride and it's your first year, it's 950.
Okay. I heard $50. I'm like, something's wrong with my headphones.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's actually really reasonable, I think, to generate for such a great cause within your own community and share that. And can people, like, if they want to donate and they maybe don't know someone who's writing, can they donate to the cause independently?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. The website, bikerally.org, has a donate button right in the top navigation, and you'll see that donate to a rider or donate generally.
Okay. I'll make sure that we put that in the show notes of the podcast as well for anybody who wants to hop on and make a donation. Going back to the bike rally, and its purpose is to fund what you do at PWA. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. So there, we get funding from private donors and some government funding as well. But this bike rally fundraiser is the biggie. We last year we raised just about 1.7 million, and then this year we're on target to raise 1.9. We have more riders registered than ever before this year.
That's amazing. Does the goal for your fundraising change every year based on the number of riders?
Roughly, yes.
Roughly.
Yeah.
So as the awareness of the bike rally grows, the riders grow, and it expands the goals and achieves more for all the purposeful things that you're doing. Speaking of PWA, when you get that funding, that's put into services and programs for the community. Can you share a little bit about that for me and everybody who's listening or watching?
Yeah, yeah. The Toronto People with AIDS Foundation. So, just like to be clear, so we support and provide services for people living with HIV. So not necessarily raising money for doctors to find a cure. So it's like direct peer-to-peer services. And we were founded in 87, like right in the middle of the AIDS crisis. And so we provide services that are like varied. So we have free therapeutic care. So like massage therapy, acupuncture, chiropractic care. We have an essentials food market. We provide counseling support. We even have like a free barbershop and clothing boutique. And then like more practical things too, where helping people navigate the healthcare system. How can they find either grants or funding to support the price of medication, and even connecting someone who is maybe a newcomer to Canada, connecting them to an immigration lawyer so that they can work towards staying here as a permanent resident. So there's, yeah, a lot of services that are offered just in this one building that we have.
That's I was looking at some of the stats too, just on your website. Like, it's incredible how many people you've reached with these services. I'm just going to read off some notes here. This is from 2023. 16,779 people took advantage of the essential market. What does the essential market look like?
Yeah, we don't call it a food bank because we try to make it more of like a dignified experience. So it's really set up kind of like a miniature grocery store. You have a basket, or you bring in your own personal like bags, and you shop. And we open that 3 days a week to clients of PWA. And yeah, it's just a very kind of independent way to help support, feeding yourself, feeding your family. You're not given a bag of food and kind of being told that this is what you get. People have different tastes and come from different cultural backgrounds, so they want different things.
Is the Essentials Market run by volunteers?
Yes. So happy you said that. So we have hundreds of volunteers that work with us in various capacities. And the Essentials Market is, we have a food coordinator who's on staff, but the people who are there like on the front line, also just receiving the food and bringing it up into our fridges and unpackaging things, and cleaning the space are all volunteers. We could not operate if it wasn't for the volunteers.
And if someone wanted to volunteer, what's the process for that? Do they go to your website? Is there a form they fill out?
Yeah,
there's a screening. There's training.
Yes. Yeah. So the website has the information of who to contact, a form. There's even an email and a phone number. And then you would be brought in for a volunteer training session, which usually includes many other people. And it's typically a full day of volunteer training. You get some background information about PWA, but you get training on how to work with people who have different needs, come from different backgrounds, a bit of like sensitivity training.
I was going to say, you took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, there's got to be sensitivity training in there too.
Yeah. And then you basically get, a certificate from PWA that you're a certified volunteer. And then we really try to find a way that you can do something that is of value to you, So, we definitely have needs in some certain spots, but say you have, you went to school for social work, or you have a marketing background, anything like that we can kind of use you to your own advantage is what we're going to try and do.
And find the passion of what they're doing too outside of volunteering that aligns with, they're obviously coming to you because they have a similar value system and ethics, and they want to support their community. So finding that, I guess, that perfect fit. So it's a win-win for everybody. How many hours do you have to commit to as a volunteer?
I think it varies because I see people who are there every single day. And they're volunteering 5 days a week, if not more, full like 8-hour days. And then I see some people because some people do have jobs outside of this and they volunteer on top of it. Other people don't have a job right now. So this volunteer experience is helping them, build their resume and references to get a job. So it's really what is available to you, what your capacity is.
That's great. That's great to know. Just going back to, sorry, I'm obsessed with the bike rally now again.
Hey, yeah. Whoa.
I want to know more. I mean, it's great that all the funding that you get on top of the bike rally funding goes into all these things, the essential market, the financial support, the guidance in navigating things like medications and immigration and all the wonderful things of the world.
And what I can do though, like before we move on to the bike rally,
go
paint a picture of what this facility looks like, because
Absolutely. That'd be great.
right, like, so just it's a very exciting time right now for PWA. I think about 2.5 years ago, we moved into our new space that's at 163 Queen Street East, and we have the entire 4-floor building for all of our services. But there's also a floor that is dedicated to organizations who also work in like aid service organization or aid service adjacent organizations. So we're really this like hub of HIV care and access in the community, which is incredible because it's kind of with all these people that operate out of there, we're kind of like a one-stop place for someone to go. So say either they're new to Canada or maybe they're newly diagnosed, they have information, everything there in that one building, and it becomes like a safe place, like a home for them to go to. And sometimes that's really what people need. And so there, we also have two large event spaces. So on the first floor and the first floor are these ginormous event spaces that we rent out.
I was just going to, you read my mind. I was going to be like, do you rent this? Do you rent
We
this?
do. And
Okay, we're throwing a party.
yeah. And what's great though is on the first floor, every single day during the week, we have a community lunch. It's free for anybody at all to drop in. And so there's lunch provided. There's usually a speaker or a theme of some kind. And the entire thing is cooked by volunteers in the kitchen. So it's very, yeah, very, very like wonderful food, but also very powerful to see all these people in this space doing this for the cause.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
Is there anything else that you want to share with us about the work you do or the bike rally in specific that we maybe didn't touch upon?
It's like, it always amazes me, especially from like my marketer point of view, of how community driven this event is. Like we don't do a whole lot of like wide cast marketing. You know, we do some brand awareness, you know, but the people who do the ride love it. And they're talking to their friends about it. And when they're doing their fundraising, they're talking to their networks, their family. So there's all these marketers out there spreading the word. And that word of mouth is the most powerful thing.
Absolutely. I mean, I found out about you through word of mouth as well, because I sponsored a rider.
Yes, you know, and sometimes it takes a few years of little like kernels or seeds being planted in your head before you become a rider yourself or a volunteer. You know, you don't have to ride to be a part of it. You can volunteer in other ways.
And do you have all your volunteers for this year's annual event?
Not entirely.
Not entirely. Okay,
Yeah.
listen up, people out there.
Yeah, especially if you have a driver's license, we need you.
Okay, we need some drivers.
Yeah, we need drivers. You know, so because we're taking everyone's belongings with them over Toronto to Montreal, we have a bunch of big cube vans that have everyone's camping equipments. And so we need people that can drive cube vans, but also people that can drive, you know, your standard vehicle. There's crew members that do road support. So they're marking the route each day. So you can do this ride without even a smartphone because the route is marked out with arrow signage and people on the road guiding the way. So that's a crew. There's, you know, the food and nutrition crew. Those people get up early in the morning to help prepare the breakfast. And then, you know, there's a lunch and there's a dinner. So 3 square meals a day. We have people who support participant engagement even. So on the rally, there's different events each evening just to like have entertainment at night and get people involved. We also bring therapeutic care on the ride with us. Canadian Memorial Chiropractic College has their students, who we call spin turns, give massage and chiro for people doing this like taxing event on their bodies.
I can only imagine how needed that is.
Yeah.
You would know as a writer. Thank you so much, Peter, for all this amazing information. If someone, we mentioned this earlier, if someone wants to connect with you or the cause, what's the best way? Is the website?
Yeah. The website has my contact information. In the About Us, there's a staff section. So you can reach me. Again, my name's Peter Harte. My phone number is also listed there. You can find us on social media, Friends for Life Bike Rally. And there's, I look through the direct messages regularly. So you'll be speaking to me if you reach out that way. So when anyone reaches out saying they want more information or to help,
yeah,
on it.
Okay. All right. We'll make sure that we put all those crucial links in the show notes. And I really hope that people who've listened to this or watched this actually hit that link button and actually look into how to support, sponsor, and drive all the wonderful things you do. Thank you so much today for joining us, Peter. It's been a pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
I feel like we could talk for hours.
We will.
But we're going to keep it to this. But thank you again. And I look forward to supporting the bike rally, you, and continuing this conversation offline.
Thank you, Jewel. Thank you.
My pleasure. Once again, a great big thank you to Peter Harte from PWA for joining us and sharing his story and his passion. And remember, community is always first. Take the time to check out the links to support the foundation and the bike rally if you can, and maybe strap on those running shoes and get on a bike yourself and join them for a 100-kilometer or a 600-kilometer ride. Again, they are still looking for volunteers for this year's annual event. And remember to stay connected and keep telling the stories that matter.